green screen compositing in Blender 2.8. Blender is a 3D package and it does have compositing capabilities, and if this is your choice, I will show you how to do that. Well, we come here first, plus to add a compositing workspace. Let us click and then move to the compositing workspace. What we will do is we need two things. The first one is click use nodes, and the second one is backdrop, because we need to work with nodes. And number two is we need to see what we're doing. So we click backdrop. These are two important things. Okay, this is before moving any further. But when you use the nodes, what you actually get in here is the render layers. What we want to do now is compositing green screen, so keying it, which basically means we're not going to be working with rendered 3D images and stuff. We will be using shot green screen footage. So the render layer node is not needed. The composite we're going to need later once we want to connect it for rendering, but we want to bring in the footage first. So we we tap on Shift A, and then we have input and movie clip. So we bring in our footage, open, and that's going to be a foreground green screen. Open. All right, so it's in here, but I'm going to have to create a viewer node, Shift A, output, viewer. But there are a few ways to do it, but I'm just showing you the menu way, right? And we connect image to image. Okay, now we want to see everything in the screen, so I'm going to click on fit here. All right, so this is our footage. We would like to remove the green screen, and we would like to add another background, and that's going to be movie clip. So another movie clip. We put it somewhere in the back here because we're not going to be using it right now, but we would like to bring it in first. So that is going to be our background. And it looks like this. Okay, it looks like this. Good. Okay. What do we want to do now? Right, there are a few things that I want you to take into account when compositing green screen, when keying green screen, right, before compositing, when keying it. Okay, the video that I have chosen has a few mistakes in it. This is a stock footage video, and it has a few mistakes. There are 5 mistakes. The first one is it doesn't have any tracking markers. Well, I'd like to talk about these things because, yes, post-production, when it comes to key and green screen, there are a few things that need to be done, but they depend on what has already been done during production. So if you don't have tracking markers and you want to match move, that becomes impossible, okay? There are only 2 exceptions to this rule. Number 1, the camera is frozen, doesn't move, but if you choose to move it later and you forget to add the tracking markers, again, the match moving becomes impossible. It's just a guesswork, and it's going to be like really unprofessional. Exception number 2 is if you are working in a big green screen studio with the robot, motion control robot with the camera. So the camera is not operated by a person, but operated by a robot, and that's tied to motion control. So that actually is an exception where the robot does not need any tracking markers because it syncs the motion of the camera directly to the 3D package. Okay, so these are 2 exceptions. Mistake number 2 is that the lighting is actually quite unevenly, it's quite poor. Okay, it's quite poor. It's uneven. From the look of things, there's just one light on the ceiling. Like this is really not done properly. There's a light on the ceiling, so this is lighter, bright. This is like middle values of green, and this is darker. You can tell there's no light on the right, there's no light on the left. And mistake number 3 is the actors are too close to the green screen. Mistake number 4, because they are too close to the green screen, you can see the shadows and they can't have separate lighting. So the lighting is poor on the actors. You need to have lighting separate for the green screen than the one for the actors, okay? And then number 5, we have rubbish quality video. This is H.264, which is heavily compressed. Compression means you have decided not to do visual effects. That's what it means, actually. But I have taken this to show you that this technique works even with rubbish quality videos. It's not an excuse to have rubbish quality videos. It's that I'm showing you the technique, okay? Compression is the enemy of visual effects, is the enemy of green screen keying, because with compression, you lose image information, you lose color information, and keying is all about color, right? Okay, so we close this bracket about the mistakes. I have deliberately chosen this stock footage because it has is rich in mistakes, and that's something that we may be facing once we talk about this. Okay, first step, when we key, what do we do? Okay, because we have taken this video that has this full of mistakes, one of the mistakes is the fact that you have uneven lighting. We are going to have to deal with different types of green. This is bright, this is like middle values, plenty of values, and then this is dark, this is shadows. I have to deal with all of this. If I'm going to ask my keyer in Blender to do everything, it's going to be asking too much. So if I'm going to ask the keyer to remove all sorts of green, it is going to do it, but it's going to do it from the matte as well, because guess what? With all sorts of mistakes, the fact that they are very close to the green screen background, that means they are spill. And the spill on, for example, this black costume is not bright green, it's dark green. So if I take away this, I'm going to take away color information from here, creating transparency. And it is going to be more obvious when we look at the shirt. The white shirt is taking some of the colors. And this is like brighter reflection, but it's something we need to take into account. So again, back to that one of 5 mistakes where they are too close to the background. You need to be meters away from the green screen so that you avoid spill. Yes, it's not even when you're shooting, you're not going to avoid it 100%, like eliminate it, because if the shoes are shiny, so you're going to have it, even if it's 6 meters away, it's going to be shiny and it's going to reflect, right? So it does reflect. Some objects do reflect. We have to live with that. So it needs to be rotoscoped or garbage man or whatever. It needs to be worked on separately. So in this case, what do we need to do? We need to address the variation of green. The motion of these actors needs to be defined. So what are the areas they need? What are the areas they don't need? Well, in this case, the camera doesn't move, so we know that they are going to be using they're just standing where they are. Okay, cool. This means I am able now to create a garbage matte. This is step number 1. Why do we create a garbage matte? It's a mask. We're going to mask to eliminate the greens that we don't need. And we tend to, if it's poorly lit, we tend to have darker greens in the corners. So what we need to do is create a garbage matte. How do we do that? Well, let's come down here and we're going to choose from in here, we have render result. We don't want to have the render result. We want to have the viewer node. So now I am creating the garbage matte. Step number 1 is come down here and select the viewer node so that we get this the feed from the viewer node, from this viewer node. Okay, we get it here. Once we have it here, we are going to change this from view to mask. Okay, once we have it in here, we create a new mask and we can call it garbage matte. Garbage matte. Okay, we tap enter and we're going to press Control and start drawing the shape that we need. Okay, in this particular case, I'm going to use the area where they're going to move. Now, once you're done, you just need to press, well, you get a bit closer, and you press Alt C, and that closes your mask. What have we just done? We have created a mask. Have we created a garbage matte? Yes and no. Yes, we created the mask that is the input for the garbage matte, but we haven't really created the garbage matte as such. So let's come up here and create the garbage matte based on this mask. So we come here and Shift A, we come, oh, you could go to search and just go straight to mask, and we click here. This is one mask. Okay, from here, we can easily tell that when we click on this, we have from drop down menu, we've got already the mask we have created. It's called garbage matte. Right, we click on this one and we're going to connect it. Connect image. Sorry, we need to connect it differently. We need to bring a mix node. So Shift A and click on search, mix. Mix, okay. I need to mix this original image with my mask so that I'm able to see the masked output, the garbage matte, okay? How do we do that? We connect the mask to the FAC, yeah, to the factor, and we connect the image to the image. Now I get this result connected to the viewer, and what do you get? Ooh, this isn't what we want to see. I actually want to see the people, so we just need to invert it. Fine, we are going to invert it. Let me invert this. I'm gonna tap Shift A, search, and then look for invert. So this is our invert. We put the mask to just bring in the invert here. Okay, once we bring it in, it connects the color to the factor, and we have inverted it. Now, what is this in here? I'm going to show you later. This is green, and what is this? This is now masked out, but to be effectively a proper alpha, like transparent, it needs to be, we need to use an alpha node. But for that, we're coming to that. What I will do next now is to make sure that I have my garbage matte is, let me just see. You could, by the way, anytime come and adjust your garbage matte, and it is automatically updated here because, well, it's the source for the garbage matte. The mask is the source for the garbage matte. Let's just close it here and click on one of those points and say we don't need all of this space. Oh, sorry for that. Okay, good. All right, so this is how you create a garbage matte. In the next part, we are going to move to the key